Hey music friends, today I'm gonna tell you the story of how I went from wanting to become a professional musician so bad and trying and failing a bunch of times and almost giving up my life's dream to eventually becoming a full-time music composer for games. As you probably noticed already, this video is a little different. I wanted to have this closer, more informal talk with you guys for a change. So let's go. The story starts when I was only 3 years old. My parents bought me and my brother a Super Nintendo. I loved the games, the art, the music, and from then on I was pretty much obsessed with art in general, but especially music and games. As the years went by, I started to feel a deep desire to make music, to make this my life's mission, and to do this for a living. I realized back then that music has the power to induce the full range of human emotions. I believed and still believe that music can give you a glimpse of the human potential, and therefore it can be used to inspire and uplift. That was my mission, that's what I wanted to do, and I was about to get serious about it. Because then came what I consider to be my first serious attempt at becoming a professional musician, which is something that I know some of you are familiar with already. We created a band called Fearless, and it was a lot of fun. We played local gigs, we recorded a bunch of stuff and learned a lot. But then I started to face some obstacles that I'm sure any artist watching this video is familiar with. Things like people not taking you seriously, people telling you that music and art are not real careers, people telling you that you're just lazy because you don't want to get a real job, people telling you that a career in art and music is a 1 in 1 million kind of thing. And honestly, I was young back then, and these comments unfortunately started to get to me. And at this point I was at an age where you're supposed to go to college. The band was doing okay, we were having a lot of fun and learning a lot, but we're not making any money. So here I accepted the fact that music would have to be a side thing, would have to be a hobby, and I would have to get a real job so I could support my music career. So one day I could maybe get lucky, get a big lucky break that would allow me to finally become a full-time musician. That was my plan. But then something happened that completely changed those plans. First semester at college, I failed almost every single subject, and I started to get worried. This was my plan. If I can't get a real job, how am I gonna support my music career? Then things got worse, because on the second semester, I'd failed every single subject. Oh, and by the way, I went to college for computer science because I like computers, I guess. Computers are kind of like video games, I guess. Needless to say, I had zero interest in computer science, and at this point I just stopped trying to deceive myself and accepted that college wasn't going to work. I quit college and I didn't know what to do. At this point, the band wasn't making any significant amount of money. I was still living with my parents, and there was a big pressure on me due to not having a real job and not being on college. But then something very surprising happened. My dad, who up to this point was very much of the get a real job mentality, finally decided to put some faith into my music career. I guess he finally realized that I was serious about this and was like, let's give it a shot and see what happens. Which was great. His support meant that I now could afford some better music education, like courses, music lessons, this kind of thing. On one of these courses, I met my biggest mentor, which was a guy that changed everything for me. If you're familiar with heavy metal, like I know some of you are, this guy is a former guitar player for Rhapsody of Fire. His name is Tom Hess. He taught me so much about music business, but more importantly, he dispelled so much poison on my mind about this profession. I learned that it's not a 1 in 1 million thing. I learned that you don't need to get lucky to make it, and that you don't need to be a starving artist either. And all these improvements finally started to give some results. The band Fearless was better than ever. We were playing local tours, we were recording an album, but something much bigger than that was about to happen. We came into contact with a major record label. Not only they liked us a lot and wanted to sign a deal with us to release our album, they were also in contact with a major Hollywood star that would participate in our album. We had the contract in our hands, we were about to sign it. But then, disaster struck. Something happened that was completely outside of anyone's control, and the deal was off. The details of this story with the record label and the Hollywood actor are a whole story in and of itself. I can tell that with more detail in another video if you like. We were all so devastated, both us in the band and the record label guys. We all wanted it to happen so much, and at this point I was very frustrated. I mean, I got this once in a lifetime opportunity. It's like, I've been struck by lightning once, can I possibly hope to be struck again? I almost gave up, but then I had an idea for a final attempt at becoming a professional musician. This whole time I was forgetting the other thing that I like as much as music: games. I felt like I was recovering something from my past, something that was inside of me that I had forgotten, and it made total sense. I've been playing video games this whole time, I know so much about the industry, so much about games, but it was also a lot more difficult. I didn't know anyone personally that followed that career path, and I didn't know where to start. All my friends from school were graduating college and getting jobs and moving out of their parents' houses, so I had to go all in. I spent 2 months working every single day on a few compositions that I could show to people to get some gigs. And at this point I was so different than I was back at the beginning. I had complete confidence in my mission of inspiring and uplifting people through music, complete confidence in my skills and abilities. I just had to make this work, there was no other way. I got my very first video game composing gig in 2014, and from then on things started to work out better for me. The process between me getting that first gig and going full-time composer is a whole story in and of itself too, and I can tell that too in another video if you like. Like I said at the beginning, this is a more informal, closer talk with you guys, so I'd love to interact with you guys in the comments and know what you think of the story and if you've been through similar situations in your own life. If you've been here for a while, you'll know that I read and reply to everything. And don't worry, this kind of video won't be a frequent thing. Next week we'll be right back to inspiring and uplifting each other by sharing the music from the games that we love. Alright, see you in the comments.